This next question says, for a new instructor, what trainings and certifications would you recommend starting with?
Oh man, really, you've got to start with the NRA stuff so that you can get your insurance. That's the big thing. And the NRA instructor stuff is basically a breath test or a pulse test to make sure that you're there. There's nothing real difficult about it. But they're the nationally recognized one that gets you to the point where you can get some other certifications. There's the Sig Sauer Academy is great for instructors, and the Rangemaster stuff is great for instructors. And maybe even before those, Brian Hill's instructor stuff is some next level stuff. I think the challenge with Brian's is if you get into that a little too early, some of that stuff may go over your head because he is such a great coach that if you don't understand some of the nuance, you might miss some. I don't know that that's the case, but that would be, for somebody that's very, very new to this, that might be a bit of a challenge. Now, when Brian came here and taught this, my daughter Rebecca took it, who is not an instructor, but she's a new mom and never gets to take classes. So Steph's like, hey, Brian, Becca's not an instructor, but can she take your class? And of course he says yes, because he's coming to our house to teach, right? But she loved it and got a ton out of it. So, I would do, Sig Sauer, Brian Hill, Rangemaster stuff. The Rangemaster stuff is great. It's a great place to start. It's a great community. There's a ton of people to be in there. He's got multiple levels, and Tom has been around and done a lot of stuff. And I respect the heck out of the guy. He's got kind of a basic 3-day instructor certification. Then there's an advanced one. And then there's the master one. And then he's got a shotgun one on top of that. And I've been to every one of his, and he's got a new one now I can't even remember the name of it, but it sells out before he announces it. I'll probably go take that when I can. A lot of that is, that's where I hang out with guys like Adam and Chuck Haggard and those guys and get to rub elbows with my friends when I go to these things. And so that's where I would really start with that. Once you get a little bit of instructing under your belt, the certification program that we have, you've got to kind of qualify to get into that. And it's a whole lot less about shooting, but it would really be beneficial if you had some classes under your belt and had spent some time with, as an instructor, because then this stuff means a lot more, if that makes sense. So I hope that answers that question, but it's a great question. And I always love talking about training because I've been all over the place and taken a ton of classes, and I love all of the classes that I take, but for the instructor level, I think those three are probably the three where I would tell people to start.
Yeah. And it's not, as you said, it's not all the same. So knowing where to begin and then how to gradually work your way up is important. And how would you know that if you're just starting out? So
right, exactly.
yeah.